know how to get you. They've already learned. They spend time learning you. They study you. They stalk you. That's the difference between, some people will say, well, what's the difference between a narcissist, a sociopath, and a psychopath? Well, from what I've been understanding in some of the research I've been doing, is that sociopath is actually an outdated term. Despite its use in the media and popular culture, psychologists say that sociopathy is an informal, outdated term used to refer to someone living with antisocial personality disorder. This is not what that is not a good label.
No, that's good.
Because antisocial behavior, I'm thinking they don't go around people, that people can pick up that they're not a nice person.
Right.
There's a lot. So here's the thing. I would say narcissists are antisocial, but the way that psychology uses antisocial behavior, what they mean is lacking empathy. You don't care about society. Okay. It doesn't mean that you don't live in society. It doesn't mean that society doesn't love you. So in one of these cases, it was a minister, a high level church member who was a serial killer with a wife and children.
Visit faithandfreedom.tv and download the Faith and Freedom TV app today. Deception floods our airwaves, but Faith and Freedom TV fights back with truth. Our bold content, news, shows, Bible teachings, worship, and films shines with biblical conviction and patriotic courage, free from globalist lies. We empower Christian patriot creators to share faith and liberty. Access thousands of videos on Roku, FireTV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS. Join the battle at faithandfreedom.tv.
Some people think that our heart is our most vital organ. Actually, it's not. Our brain is. Our mind is a maze, a labyrinth of experiences from birth that creates the reality we live. God designed us to thrive on earth with joy through human interaction and relationships that shape and mold us. But what happens when those interactions break us and shatter the hope and the innocence we once held? How do we find our way home? How do we pick up the pieces? Can we ever be made new? There is hope for the brokenhearted because our Savior and Creator designed us to repair. We just need to be shown the way. Join us on a journey as we learn how to take Jesus to our past, restore what was lost, and bring healing to the fractured soul.
Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. It's Tuesday, which means it's Healing for the Fractured Soul night. And have we got a show for you? You know, in the truther movement, we tend to throw out phrases like psychopath, sociopath. There's another one besides narcissist. I feel like there's one more that's like super, crazy. Besides Machiavellian, that's a little bit different. We tend to throw these phrases out because you see people like a Klaus Schwab or a Hillary Clinton or whatever, and you're like, well, clearly I don't exactly know what a psychopath is. I don't know what a sociopath is, but I know that they probably are it, right? They are the kind that could like order a hit job, not think twice, right? Mob bosses. These are the people that we apply these phrases to. Here's the problem. It's not so sociopaths and psychopaths are not limited to the big famous people that we know.
Right, exactly.
They walk amongst us.
Yeah.
They work in and out of society, and they look like fully functioning members of society. That's the whole point. My entire life as a kid, I didn't really understand what a psychopath was or a sociopath was. I just knew that like Jeffrey Dahmer would probably be put in the category. And usually it's the people that got caught that are in jail that we apply these things to. And so you think to yourself, well, of course they're not convincing because I can see it because they got convicted. And now Charles Manson is spending the rest of his life in jail and has the chair, right? Like, but how do these people get all of these people to follow them? A lot of times, especially when you look at mass murderers, they are cult leaders. You know, not always, but like they can be because they're so convincing. So Leah sends us this video this week, yesterday. And I watched it and I was just so fascinating. And Leah's like, this is SK, like to the T. And I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh. The thing is that, Leah, if you don't mind me stealing a punchline or two here, because I think it's important for the intro for you guys to understand something. And Leah, you were telling me about this on our dog walk. They even convince their parole officers. They actually thrive. Like the harder the challenge, the more self-aware that you think that you are at your surrounding, at not being taken, at being able to see the better of a person that you are, the more good, like good old fashioned, you're just that kind of person. They get their biggest kick, thrive, high off of fooling you into making you think that they are something other than what they are. So they will convince the parole officer that they're reformed. They'll convince the pastor that they found Jesus, right? They love that. They thrive off of that. They get their biggest joy off of convincing other people that they are something better or different than, and they aren't anything really. All these people, they find themselves in positions where they're like, oh, like Leah's got a story from one of these ladies. Like this guy convinced this woman that he was a doctor, right? Completely convinced her.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, they also get their victims in so deep that even when the victim finds out that they've been lied to, they will defend them. They'll defend them.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's this gigantic misnomer that a psychopath and a sociopath walks around, and for the podcast listeners, forgive me, with this, like these beady eyes, like I'm just so crazy, like Jack Nicklaus, right? Like in all of the movies that he's ever played a psychopath in, right? Like you know them, you see them, they're a psychopath, they're a sociopath, they walk around with a sign on their forehead going, I'm crazy, okay? There is a difference between crazy people that manifest as crazy in society and sociopaths and psychopaths. As a matter of fact, most sociopaths and psychopaths go through life without people really identifying that that's who they are, because they're that good. They are the master deceivers, the master deceivers. And so, you know, Lee and I had the privilege, and I will use that term, to do these episodes on SK this year. And the emails that we got, the responses in the hundreds and hundreds, like you guys were like, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be awake to this, because you, like, once you can see it, we gave you a pattern, you recognize the pattern and how it affected you. You're able to wake up, get out of the cult, leave. But then there are the people that couldn't. They're still there. They're still trapped. I got a message from somebody the other day, still trapped. Because they get you hook, line, and sinker, because you can't see it, because in order to see it, you have to admit that you were deceived.
Yeah.
And that is so hard for a lot of people to admit, because a lot of people walk in a lot of pride. And you shouldn't, not just because you shouldn't walk in pride, but they walk in a lot of pride that they know people. I mean, how many times have you said it? Have you heard other people say it? I am such a good judge of character. I can see right through people. And people, like, they really walk in that level of pride. I don't mind telling you, I've probably felt that way a lot of times. Unfortunately, no one, and I added this to Leah's description at the end, nobody is immune. Nobody is safe. And I put this, I said, no matter who you are, everyone is at risk. Pastors, parole officers, teachers, even therapists, even these people that actually know Machiavellianism, they know sociopathy, they know psychopathy, they know it all, they get it. or psychopathy, however you want to say it, they understand it and they're still at risk. Okay, because these people are that good, and they would actually thrive on convincing a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist that these people are not the classic. They're that cunning. And so we have to throw out this idea that we're going to be able to spot one. Now, tonight, we're going to give you tools to help you, but you have to come to the table like the rest of us have, going, you know what? I don't know everything. I don't know all of this. I need to know it. I need to be able to be aware. I need to be able to spot these things in people. Okay. Because here's the thing, and I'm going to toss this to Leah because she does have a phenomenal show for us tonight. We want to try to end a little bit earlier than normal, so it won't be a 3-hour show like it has been. But when you hear these stories, and I think Leah's got some that she's going to play tonight, the person finds themselves in a too good to be true situation where they knew my soul. They knew, like, they shared the same likes, the same desires, the same dreams, the same past, the same passions. Like, I was meant to be with this person because we just connected on every level, right? Here's the problem. You know, that actually does exist. You can find somebody that you connect with on every level who shares a lot of the same dreams and a lot of the same pasts. And so there's that can be a real thing. Most of the time it's not, but it can be a real thing. But a lot of times it can be your big giant red flag to, I'm being played by a psychopath. Like, and so I don't want you guys to go into life jaded. Now, I'm not talking about like a first date. This can be your friends. These could be your boss. This could be anybody. This could be your pastor. This could be the podcast that you listen to, like Bards FM. It's not Resistance Chicks, because Leah and I have enough presence of mind to regularly question whether we're insane. And we actually come to you guys and say, you know what? We know we're crazy. I tell that to people all the time. You know, we cray. At least I admit it. I'm crazy. Okay. You're crazy too. That's why you're here. But my point is, you can be taken. You can be taken by these people. We all can be. And I would say every single person listening to the sound of my voice has been taken or convinced by a psychopath or a sociopath at some point in their life, because they walk amongst us in droves, way more than you think. Okay. And they thrive on what they do and convincing you that they're other than what they are, that they're larger than life. And so tonight we're going to dig into a lot of this stuff. And I love Leah's title here, When a Psychopath Comes Calling, because they target you. And especially if you're a really good person, if you're a kind person, if you're a caring person, if you're an empathetic person, and then also if you've got trauma in your past, because then they know that they can really identify you and they can play you because you have a hole in your heart. So please grab your pen, grab your paper, take notes. And speaking of pen and paper, we are going to be doing our first of the month giveaway for the 1st of December for our either Armor of God collection or Oil of Joy collection tonight. So if you have not won one of our collections, by all means, please send me an email at massfaith33@gmail.com. That's one S, MASFAITH 33@gmail.com. I'll announce this a couple more times throughout the show. We're going to be doing a giveaway for the book, the Prayers That Shake Heaven. Is that what it's called? And so we're doing 2 giveaways tonight. So please send me an email. And if you have won one of our collections, I think that would be fine for you to enter just for the book. Just put in there, just book, at the email. And at the end of tonight's show, we'll do a little mail call and we will do that drawing for tonight. So Leah, take it away, Sam.
So yeah, this show was inspired by a podcast I watched, just mesmerized. And I was like, well, I don't know. We're going to check the YouTube strikes because they're going to play kind of a lot of it. About psychopaths. And I really toyed with the idea of Scott Casterson, the psychopath. Okay? But then actually, because I do believe he is one, that I don't want to put his name in the title, because the end of every psychopath is that
they murder their victims. Okay, not every one of them, but they don't let them go.
They seek revenge.
They seek revenge, yeah.
It's actually not funny.
No, it's not.
It's not
It's
funny.
not
A lot
funny.
of these psychopaths, like, no, it's very dangerous. And I do want to be serious about this episode.
I am
super
super serious.
I really can't laugh about Scott Ketchum because he's a very dangerous person.
Yes, he is.
And I'm not trying, I don't want to scare anybody.
Well-
And I don't want, here's the thing, there's many reasons why I'm not doing shows about this guy. Okay. One is that he is a psychopath, in my opinion. And I believe he's dangerous.
So to that, in a more serious note, I don't mind switching to serious. There are many people who reached out to us and told us their stories, but they were too terrified to let us tell them.
But they don't know why. Why are you so scared? I didn't think that their story was that big of a deal.
Right.
One guy was just supposed to start up like teaching people how to do money right. And he's absolutely terrified to release emails and going back and forth and was like, I don't want anybody to know. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. But what's very interesting is the victims of these psychopaths do want people to know their story when that they have been pushed away by the abuser. Okay. When you're still in the circle, and it's very hard to get out of the circle, like you don't leave, you're pushed out. When it comes to these realms of what you would call antisocial behavior, if you're in and this person has targeted you, you're not leaving. You're pushed out. You're not leaving of your own free will because they got you. They know how to get you. They've already learned. They spend time learning you. They study you. They stalk you. That's the difference between, some people will say, well, what's the difference between a narcissist, a sociopath, and a psychopath? Well, from what I've been understanding in some of the research I've been doing, is that sociopath is actually an outdated term. Despite its use in the media and popular culture, psychologists say that sociopathy is an informal, outdated term used to refer to someone living with antisocial personality disorder. This is not what that is not a good label.
No, that's good.
Because antisocial behavior, I'm thinking they don't go around people, that people can pick up that they're not a nice person.
Right.
There's a lot. So here's the thing. I would say narcissists are antisocial, but the way that psychology uses antisocial behavior, what they mean is lacking empathy. You don't care about society. Okay. It doesn't mean that you don't live in society. It doesn't mean the society doesn't love you. So in one of these cases, it was a minister, a high level church member who was a serial killer with a wife and children. And you'll see this, like a lot of men with wife and children, like the Golden Gate Killer. He killed a bunch of women. Then he married. He killed one more woman when his wife was pregnant at 7 months. He killed another woman when his wife was pregnant at 7 months again. And then when she had her third daughter, he stopped killing. And so this particular psychopath, which, we can just say demon possession, I guess would be just as fine. He grew out of needing to actually kill. But when they went to go search for his home, and I think this is the same guy, it might be the same guy, it might be a different guy. It was on the same podcast. There were all these pictures of women who were dead, dismembered.
Oh my God.
Not dismembered, but like murdered. It was all the same woman. It was his wife.
Oh!
He got his wife to pose in these pictures because she felt that by going along with it, he could keep his
Fantasies?
desires under control without killing people. Now, the three daughters of the Golden Gate Killer, when they found out that their father was a serial killer, they lost it.
Oh my gosh.
They had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
So I watched a video of a woman who said that she's a sociopath. And she says she was born that way. So I think that in some of these terms, they are the humans that use them. We are not all on the same page.
Okay.
And from what I've been reading, like I have one psychologist here who's going to say, this is the exact difference between sociopath and psychopath. I have an article here that says we don't even use sociopath anymore. And I've got a video of a woman who says, I'm a sociopath, but we don't use sociopath anymore. But here's me. And she said that when she was a child, and a lot of it is diagnosed as a child, she said, she got really, really angry at a little girl in line at school, and she stabbed her with a pencil. And she said at that moment, she received a rush of euphoria. It felt so good. It felt good to hurt.
Ugh.
It felt good.
Our uncle, not the one that lives with us, the other one, the bad one, is like that.
Our uncle put poison ivy all over a young boy in the neighborhood, knowing that he was allergic, severely allergic to it, and like tied him to a flagpole, and he had to go to the hospital. And he was euphoric about that. He did not feel remorse about that. I have an aunt who takes advantage, but feels no remorse. So some of this is actually, unfortunately, genetic, in that one psychologist I was listening to says you can see that a psychopath does not really have an amygdala, like has no feelings. They have to fake empathy. They have to, it's called fronting, where they see how other people act. They see how other people care. They see how other people cry. And so they do it.
You know what I noticed? So if I may, and I know you got a whole show here, but like just all this stuff about SK just keeps coming to my mind, right? How he could cry at the drop of a hat. Like he would get emotional and cry at like everything. It's like, no, it's too much. Tone it down.
So what you'll see,
like, tone it down. You're crying too much.
in some of these videos I watched,
like
some of these serial
normally.
killers, like there was this one killer who killed his wife and children, and he's in and I'll probably play this, in the interrogation room, and the woman is saying, "You have not seen your daughters for 2 days. I have not seen you cry. Why are you not showing any emotion?" She pressed him farther. She said, "If I lost my child in the retail store, I would be losing it. You're not showing any emotion." And he starts to go like this. Well, I hope that they're found. So once you remind them, like Ted Bundy, it was the same thing. Somebody said, "You're not showing any emotion." And he goes like this. Well, and so they start to show emotion when you say and you remind them, "Oh, I need to put on emotion." Okay. The rest of us, hopefully, have empathy. Okay. So I was listening to another podcast with the guy who found the Golden Gate killer. It was a cold case when he got to it in the early 90s, like 1994. And the last murder was in 86. And he started to investigate more. It turns out that this Golden Gate killer was on the police force of the town over from the murders that he was committing. Gosh. And so it was, and he would do things very interestingly, like with his victims. You would think that when you're giving the police a police report, you're going to tell the police what the kidnapper, the murderer around you has said. And some of the victims would give these accounts. The thing of it is he would do things to throw everybody off. So one woman, he asked one woman, where's your husband? She said, in Dearborn. And he said, I think it was Dearborn, whatever, something like that. And he goes, "Oh, well, where's that?" That was the town where he was a police officer.
Oh, okay.
So he was using that as to throw off.
And he sent
that he was from around there.
Right.
So these guys are cold and they're calculating, and they blend in with society. Like the Golden Gate killer wasn't even found and convicted until 2018.
That's crazy.
His last murder was in 1986. And his kids, one daughter was an ER doctor.
No.
These were they're high functioning society people.
See, and I guess that's what that really gets me about.
So there, these three girls, had zero idea that their dad was a serial murderer that knew how to lie at the drop of a hat, knew how to manipulate, knew how to get into people's heads.
So when people come to me and, this hasn't happened really, it only happened a couple of times during the process, but like, no, I really know him. I know him. He's a good person, SK. And I'm laughing, but not laughing. My heart's actually breaking because I'm like, no, you don't. And so if these three girls who grow up thinking that they have this dad that they love, and then they find out that 3 decades ago he was a serial murderer.
And
like if anybody should know someone, you would think it would be your 3 daughters. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm not trying to again make you guys jaded and just say you can't ever trust yourself or trust the people in your life. Okay. But that's where the Holy Spirit comes in. Okay?
Well, there are a lot of really good ways to kind of spot it.
That's good.
And one of them is very simple. They exalt themselves and present themselves as being better or having more skills than they actually possess. And so I would tell you, watch out for anyone that gives you their resume. Watch out for the people that tell you the amazing stories of their life.
Like a verbal resume.
Watch out for those people. I don't trust the people who go around saying, I'm awesome. I did this. So a psychopath has a highly elevated view of themselves.
So do narcissists, and sometimes they're right. Like they talk about all the things that they've done, and they do it, and they really have.
So
they're just
here's the
narcissistic
difference
about it.
a lot of times between a narcissist and a psychopath. A narcissist actually wants people's approval.
Right.
They want to go in and they want people to approve of them. Whereas a psychopath doesn't need your approval. Doesn't need it. Doesn't need it. They have a sense of themselves. They don't know who they are, but they don't need your approval. Okay. They're cold and they're calculating. Whereas a lot of people are just not going to like a narcissist.
So
because you enter into a room and all they can do, they can't help themselves, is talk about themselves.
I'm going to put almost every single Reawaken America Tour speaker in that category. They're not sociopaths. They're not psychopaths. They're narcissistic. And they, every time we interview them and they come on our show, and God bless their souls too. And many of them I love very much.
We all have some narcissistic tendencies.
And that was the lady said that, but some of them have it way bigger than others. So what I mean is, these doctors and these people, they come up and they're like, I did this and 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 I did this. And they say it, and they did. They did all those things. They really did. So there's a difference between that and then the psychopath who says they did all those things and they didn't.
Right. Yeah. There is that difference for sure.
I have big glaring names going in my head right now, which I will not say on the show. Leah knows what I'm
Every
talking about.
compelling true crime story grapples with the fundamental question, why? When we encounter the chilling actions of a serial killer or calculated con artist, our minds quickly search for explanations, desperate to make sense of the incomprehensible. In media and popular culture, we also hear the terms psychopath and sociopath used in connection with serial criminals. Yet they're widely misunderstood, often used interchangeably to describe anyone lacking empathy or remorse. But the reality is far more complex. Understanding the different characteristics and patterns associated with psychopathy and sociopathy can provide valuable insight into the complexities of mental health, criminal psychology, and the key factors that shape human behavior. So what's the truth about psychopaths versus sociopaths? Are they born or are they made? And what makes identifying them so difficult? Despite its sociopath, what is a sociopath? Despite its use in the media and popular culture, psychologists say that sociopathy is an informal, outdated term used to refer to someone living with antisocial personality disorder. ASPD is an official diagnosis listed in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you that I put these diagnoses, I hold them with an open hand because a lot of people cross over these things like borderline personality disorder, dissociative identity disorder. There's a lot of crossover, and so it muddies the water and makes things confusing. However, when you break something apart and you can say these characteristics may not describe all of you, but they describe part of you.
Yeah.
They don't describe all of a person, but they describe part of a person. So it's very interesting. The pattern of behavior is the same in a set. A set of patterns come together and they get a name. That's it. It's a set of patterns. And so we're going to put together a set of patterns because these patterns, when they come together like a puzzle, they all go together. So when you can see that A and B go together and then C and B go together, then A and C go together. And that helps us to kind of get good diagnoses, good understanding, so that maybe even we can help ourselves, we can help our family members. And because the treatment for some of these things is different. For a psychopath, the treatment is jail. because there's not a lot to be done for somebody with borderline personality disorder that's created when you're a child. That might be something I'm going to go over next week. That's actually very common and the easiest to treat. When you have a high emotional outburst, and you have maybe some abandonment syndrome, fear of abandonment, you get really angry and then you feel really bad. So that borderline personality is way different because there's you're living as a normal life and then you're triggered and your emotions are very high. Then there are people with post-traumatic stress disorder, which is like one particular instance, like maybe you were in a fire or, you were in a mall where there was a shooting and you have post-traumatic stress disorder. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder is when you're living with the Taliban for years, or you're being molested over a long period of time, or you're living with an alcoholic. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder is when your amygdala, it never gets to come down. So you're in a mall, there's a shooting. It's a very traumatic thing, but you're out of that situation and you can begin to heal. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder is when those things are happening to you all the time or often. And you're never able to leave that situation. So it's complex, meaning your body doesn't know how now to react to situations. There are people who are born highly sensitive. And so if you were born highly sensitive and you were not taught how to use these emotions, and you need to understand, if you've ever been told that you're just too sensitive, if you've ever been told that you have too many emotions or your emotions are too high, you need to lean into that and you need to say, I'm not broken, but I can heal. Okay. So you're not broken. You could just be born highly sensitive. And so if you're a highly sensitive child, that means you're actually pretty empathetic. The problem is that highly sensitive children are usually highly sensitive to negative emotions. If you're a magnet, you're going to pick up a lot of metal.
Yeah. And
if your parents and your grandparents aren't around you to where you're constantly safe and you're growing, and I'm safe. I know how to deal with these emotions. I know how, okay, it's a good thing that I'm highly sensitive. That means I'm very sensitive to other people's feelings.
Elitist media deceives, but Faith and Freedom TV amplifies truth. Our world-leading platform delivers news, teachings, worship, movies, and music rooted in biblical values and constitutional patriotism, inspiring faith and liberty. We inspire, equip, and amplify Christian patriots to share powerful stories of faith, family, and freedom. With live events, thousands of on-demand videos, and access on Roku, FireTV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS, we're transforming culture globally for God and country. New content is coming to ignite faith. Join our mission to...
It means when somebody's crying, I feel that. Okay, so you need to embrace being highly sensitive. But the problem is, if you don't understand how to use that to be a blessing to yourself and a blessing to others, okay, then you're just going to be stuck feeling a lot of emotions a lot of times. Okay, these are what I would consider in the normal category. I'm normal. I'm okay. I can be helped. I can be healed. That is the essence of hopefully all of you who are watching now.
That's good.
If we have psychopaths, God's coming for you. No, I'm not even kidding, because the psychopaths to me are those like demon possessed people. They lack any sort of feeling or empathy. I do believe that Jesus can come, but I was listening to a woman say that even those psychopaths who meet God in prison, when they are released, they will go back and do the same thing. So they never met God. They never got radically saved. They never got filled with the Holy Spirit. Can God change everybody? Absolutely, he can. Okay. But we are talking about needing a bona fide physical miracle when we're talking about psychopaths. And it can happen. Okay.
You know what I think about is News Unit. We had this stalker channel early on in our show, like 2018. And they found us, and at first they were kind of friendly. Like they wanted to like our show. And then all of a sudden there was like 3 hosts and they were like sloppy, gross men in their basement. It was just weird.
And they would constantly pick apart our show and pick apart us.
They made their show
all about
picking
us.
apart our show. And they even made rape threats and death threats. And then we had another viewer at that time who was like, dude, I'm just going to contact the FBI. We were not going to do that at the time. And I did end up having to talk to the FBI because they called me about it. I think that the FBI must have contacted these people because it stopped.
It was in their show. Like they said it on the internet.
It was open. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the idea like that they could laugh and joke about raping us and killing us and stuff. It was so weird. To me, that's what you would expect. See, here's the thing. That's what we all would expect when we think psychopath, right? The problem is that is, I'm sure it fits into some sort of category, but these people that we're going to talk about here tonight are not the kind that will just openly say the crazy thing. They're just going to do it. So I actually fear less the people that would say it out loud than the people that like pretend like there's something and then the next thing you know.
Yeah. So psychopaths tend to be highly manipulative and charming, taking steps to blend in to society and avoid detection. While they can be impulsive, they typically employ a more cold, calculated approach to their actions.
Long game.
They're less likely to be reactive and can keep up a facade of normalcy for long periods. Sociopaths, on the other hand, tend to be more erratic, impulsive, and chaotic. News unit. They may experience emotional outbursts, including fits of rage or anger, making it more difficult for them to hide their antisocial tendencies and to fit into society. Okay? Research often suggests that psychopaths generally lack emotions, including empathy and a moral conscience, and may struggle to recognize emotions in others. However, they can imitate emotions to manipulate others, making them particularly dangerous in positions of power or influence. They think that you're crying because you're manipulating. It's a strange way that they view the world. That said, research into notorious murderers with psychopathic personalities such as Jeffrey Dahmer and Denise Nielsen found that a key driver for their violent behavior was pain, loneliness, and a deranged attempt to connect with their victims, though there are some possible exceptions. Experts generally agree that sociopaths, unlike psychopaths, do have a sense of right and wrong, but will act out against them and try to rationalize their actions. According to research, psychopaths struggle to form healthy attachments to people and are more likely to have an avoidant attachment style. Ironically, psychopaths may find it easy to attract partners because of their charm and talent for manipulation and may feel the need to be loved. However, their inability to feel, to express, and to recognize a wide range of emotions, coupled with their drive for power, can make it difficult for them to form meaningful relationships. They may even be saddened by their behavior because they understand its role in isolating them from even others even more. The Golden Gate Bridge serial killer would often be seen crying, the victim said. They do get sad. They do get angry, but they don't have, and they can have a little bit of empathy. Like I guess I was listening to the one guy say, I'm going to bring him up in a minute, that, one of his victims said that, his gag was too tight, so he would loosen it. Like they have a little bit of empathy. That's why he was able to raise 3 daughters. So they can turn it on and off. To me, that denotes a multiple personality that, came from somewhere. Unlike psychopaths, some sociopaths can form meaningful attachments with a particular individual or group, but these connections lack depth, can be difficult to maintain, and be restricted by their overfocus on their own needs. Are sociopaths or psychopaths born or made? It's still unclear. They don't know whether people are genetically predisposed to become sociopaths and psychopaths. Because sociopaths tend to have a conscience, their behavior is often strongly linked to environmental factors such as traumatic early experiences or head injuries. Research suggests that psychopathy, on the other hand, may in part actually be caused by genetics. For example, the parts of the brain responsible for regulating emotion and impulsiveness have been shown to be underdeveloped in some people with psychopathy. That said, evidence suggests that environmental factors actually may play a role. For example, being raised in a poor neighborhood. And I told Michelle, I heard a story of a black woman who got on a bus, and she didn't have money to get on the bus, but she had 5 boxes of Popeye's chicken. And she didn't have money to get on the bus, but she had 5 boxes of Popeye's chicken. And she didn't have money to get on the bus, but she had 5 boxes of Popeye's chicken. And she didn't have money to get on the bus, but she had 5 boxes of Popeye's chicken. and she asked the bus driver if she could get on the bus. She said, I don't have money for a ticket. And this guy on the bus is telling the story. And he says...
The guy or the bus driver?
There's a guy on the bus.
Okay.
And she says, this big old black lady, and she's got 5 boxes of Popeye's chicken, and she eats the whole thing, but she doesn't have money for a bus ticket. When it's time for her to get off the bus, she goes crazy and throws these empty boxes of chicken all over.
Like chicken bones.
All over the bus.
That's nasty.
Like, she's either a sociopath, she's a psychopath. She has no emotions. And when you look at the black community, these are made, not born. The black community had less divorce than the white community. When you start to remove the father, you're underdeveloping emotional development. You're not teaching children how to have empathy. They have the survival of the fittest. And I see a lot of these inner city kids turn into gang members, turn into, they lack empathy. They lack the ability to think, to feel, and they become thieves. It's a
So you know where else you see it? And we've known several people who, because they have such big hearts, they were foster parents.
Yes.
And they end up with these children that, in my humble opinion, are psychopaths, and they cycle back into the program because the people can't handle it anymore. Like they think that you can just love a child to health. If the child has not developed these types of traits, then you actually can. So borderline personality disorder, Leah tells me, is one of the easiest things to heal. So I believe that that's one of those ones you could probably love a child through borderline personality disorder. But if this child has now entered into sociopathy or psychopathy, depending on how you want to say it, that's when only, and I don't want to sound like nihilistic here, the power of God and a miracle is going to heal this child. And so what does society do with the fact that we are creating? To answer the question, in my opinion, I do believe there is a genetic component, but I think that the bigger issue are the ones that are created. Because as a society, we could avoid this. Our society just, unfortunately, because we have these broken homes, and if you don't have two parents, and
we're talking about way different personalities. A psychopath has charm, blends into society. The big black girl with the chicken ain't blending into society.
Right.
She has a different mental disorder.
No, but and I'm trying to be very careful here because I don't want to bring up the one story that I'm thinking of. Leah knows because I love this family and they watch our show. But sometimes your children do have charm.
Yeah.
These children.
Yeah. Well, children can, but I'm saying by and large, when you go downtown and you're walking past, they're going to bump into you. You don't want to see these people. You don't like them.
Right.
Then they don't like you. And
you said that is oftentimes kind of a difference between, even though we're not using sociopaths anymore, they say
a sociopath.
The sociopath is the kind that they got the issue, but they don't blend in. And then you've got the one that blends in. And so my point is that, we're talking about adults, but unfortunately, what do you do with the kids in foster care? Who literally have already been turned into a psychopath.
I guess.
Or a sociopath.
Those are good questions. But I'm looking at a lot of these behaviors, and at least as they grow older, they're able to be charming, even as they get older. But in their younger years, they will set things on fire. They will hurt animals, things like that.
Right.
All right.
But I do believe that you can heal. I mean, our friend Jimmy.
Our friend Jimmy used to do
and he's completely set free.
He used to put cats in a mailbox,
and blow them up.
And he's filled with the power of God. It's important to note that television portrayals of psychopaths and sociopaths as inherently violent distort the clinical reality, and not all people that are sociopaths and psychopaths are actually violent criminals. One study even found that some people with ASPD and good impulse control have gone on to be more successful than their peers. Your CEOs, your billionaires, your millionaires are most likely psychopaths, because the only way they can get there is by lacking empathy and feeling.
You got to be able to walk all over a little guy.
You do things to look good. You do things to charm people. The crazy thing about these psychopaths is they will get people to defend them. They are able to truly get people to love them, to fall in love with them. They can get the parole officers on their side. They can get people. I mean, O.J. Simpson.
No, it's so true.
O.J. Simpson has gotten people to defend him.
If it don't fit, you must quit.
They got people to defend it. There are people who still believe that he's innocent. He's a psychopath. He killed his wife. Okay, he
raped women.
Did he?
Purportedly.
I didn't know about that. Charles Manson, Ted Bundy, Bernie Madoff, the banker. There's the
I don't know those other names.
I don't know these other people. Psychopathy and sociopathy are difficult to diagnose because they're not official clinical diagnosis. Instead, are a part of a spectrum of antisocial personality disorder. Traits associated with these conditions, such as superficial charm, manipulation, lack of empathy, impulsivity, can be easily masked, making accurate assessment challenging. So repeatedly being deceitful, repeatedly breaking the law, being impulsive or incapable of planning ahead, being irritable, aggressive, reckless disregard for their safety or safety of others, being consistently irresponsible, lack of remorse. So there are some treatments, cognitive behavioral therapy, and even medicine, but it's an interesting road. Let's put it that way. All right. Where is it? We're going to go over here. I think chilling. This is from Science Focus BBC. Chillingly cool, collected, cunning, and clever. Is this the perfect description of a psychopath? For most people, Hollywood movies and popular culture generate such images of psychopathy. Be it Anthony Hopkins or Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs or The Psychos, Norman Bates. Such characters dominate the public's perception of the psychopath. But how close is this popular image to reality? The term psychopath originated in the 1800s from the Greek word psyche and pathos, which means sick mind or suffering soul. Psychopaths might be better conceptualized as people who are dissociated, says criminologist Robert Blakely. In other words, people who are detached from their own emotions and the emotions of other people. Consequently, they just don't feel much. If they see a person in distress, psychopaths don't feel the distress themselves, so they have less emotional incentive not to harm people. Blakely believes that this dissociation can arise from inheriting an oversensitive perceptual system. If you're very sensitive to visible signs of distress and anger in other people, then seeing those signs could become overwhelming, sometimes for sensitive children.
Well, scripturally, we could look at the Good Samaritan, that story specifically. So you see that, several people passed by the man in the ditch, but it wasn't until the Good Samaritan saw him that he decided to help. So, we do have actually scriptural basis for heartlessness.
That's good. Yeah. One way to identify a psychopath is to study patterns in their relationships. Psychopaths generally cannot sustain long-term relationships. What they will do, they have short periods of intensity followed by detachment, and they tend to define their close interactions. While in a relationship, their behavior is likely to be highly manipulative and selfish, and their needs always come first. Not all psychopaths are violent criminals, but most present a threat to our welfare at some level, to one's self-esteem, peace of mind, health, financial being. There are many theories behind why psychopaths are the way they are. Some believe it is nature, genetics, or that cause psychopathy. Other thinks it's related to environmental
and
factors.
We're going to, on Resistance Chicks, throw in another thing.
Yeah.
And that's demonic.
Yeah.
It's demonic. I believe that you can't have any of this stuff without a demonic influence.
Exactly. So I want to start with this one. No. Is that the one? I think it is. Yeah, I think this is the one. Let me make sure it's the right title. It's the same. Go ahead, play it.
Well, hang on, I don't have it up yet. I wasn't even thinking about getting your tabs up ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So in watching this particular video and learning about psychopaths, I want you to just be led by the Holy Spirit and recognize that while we are trying to diagnose and find real answers, we're not professionals. I'm not here to diagnose anybody.
No, but we want you to be able to diagnose the people in your life as dangerous. If that's what it's coming to, right? That's the whole point. All right, let's see. Here we are.
Okay, let's play this one first. Most psychopaths have these 3 traits. Oh, you can play this one. That was not the one by this one. You can play that one.
Do I need to refresh it?
Maybe.
To spot a psychopath, and I am pretty attuned to this now, and I guarantee that you know at least one if you know 100 people. In fact, you probably know around 3. And certain jobs do kind of entice them in anywhere where there's a hierarchy of power. So policing, academia, the medicine field, you know, think of surgeons, pilots, anywhere where you can get a lot of power over other people. They're often very charming, very charismatic, but ultimately self-entitled, and they have zero empathy for other people. And if you know one, my advice is to spot a psychopath. And
so again, just while this thought is coming to my mind, and this is not a show about SK, but unfortunately he's the, in my humble opinion, I don't even care about being sued for libel at this point. When I look at the heartlessness of like the emails that I got that just left me reduced into tears because of people saying this is what he did to me, like it hurt, and he did not care like at all. He fronted that he cared for all these other people, but the vast majority, he just did not care. Like you couldn't do the things that he's done if you actually had a heart and cared. So that's what goes to show, like the rest of us don't have to pretend to care, right? Sometimes we get too overwhelmed and we miss being able to focus. But if we actually could focus on what was in front of us, we would care, right? But like this person hears the story and doesn't care, you know. We're having some issues tonight. Let me refresh.
Oh, of course we are.
When I've assessed children, adolescents, and adults for psychopathy, there are certain things I look for that suggest to me the person is genuinely psychopathic that I think could be useful for people to know. The first one is that they tend to be antisocial across a whole range of domains.
And by antisocial doesn't mean that like they just don't get along with people. What she's gonna say,
right? They've cheated on romantic partners.
It means when she says antisocial behavior across
cheated in
a bunch
professional
of places,
settings, or maybe in school or in a sports setting. Right? It's not just one thing or one domain. It's you see unethical and antisocial behavior across domains. They tend to show signs they think they're better than other people. They tend to believe that problems in the world are.
This is a really good one. I wish it wouldn't be breaking up.
We probably
always
have
other
too many
people's
tabs
faults.
open, but
other people are dumb. Other people are ignorant.
And I need you to have
other
YouTube
people
up
are
so that we
easily
can be
duped.
monitoring.
And finally, believing that everybody else is just like them underneath. So if somebody,
Either one.
It's really frustrating. Do we need to drop a stream?
I don't think that would help,
believe that
actually.
everybody is actually fundamentally selfish. If they think that's true of people in general, what they're really telling you is what they're like. When I've assessed children, adolescents, and adults for psychopathy, there are certain things I look for that suggest to me the person is genuinely psychopathic that I think could be useful for people to know. The first one is that they tend to be antisocial across a whole range of domains, right? They've cheated on romantic partners. They've cheated in professional settings, or maybe in school or in a sports setting, right? It's not just one thing or one domain. It's you see unethical and antisocial behavior across domains. They tend to show signs they think they're better than other people. They tend to believe that problems in the world are always other.
Jesus, please help our show get going tonight. We command the demons in the internets to stop trying to stop our show.
Other people's faults. Other people are dumb. Other people are ignorant. Other people are easily duped. And finally, believing that everybody else is just like them underneath. So if somebody seems to believe that everybody is actually fundamentally selfish, if they think that's true of people in general, what they're really telling you is what they're like.
Okay.
When I've assessed,
can we break that down a little bit?
I am going to break that down. Okay.
There's a couple of things that I really felt like were highlightable there. I guess because I just keep thinking about SK, like how he would always say like behind your backs, you guys listening to the show, he would talk about how dumb you are, how stupid you are, how gullible you are.
Let's go over those 3 things she said. Okay. She said that they think that they are better than everybody else. They think that their problems are everybody else's problems. And they think that everybody else is like them and selfish like them. So in there, they really truly think that they are better than everybody else.
Right.
That they're smarter than everybody else.
Right.
And SK, in all of my conversations with him, he is smarter and better than everybody else. And you just think and you nod your head, and because he had a lot of charm. Now, I would talk to like Condi or other people. He charms certain people. Psychopaths target people who they know that have a certain set of characteristics. So in one case, we're going to hear about a psychopath targeted a woman who was a nurse because she has empathy and compassion. Psychopaths need people who are empathetic, who are compassionate, so that they can use that against them. All right. And then they will pretend to be empathetic or compassionate themselves. Like one guy, he pretended to be a doctor, but he wasn't a doctor, to kind of, look, I'm an empathetic person. I'm a good person. He ended up being a psychopath. So in these, when you're dealing with people who are constantly elevating themselves in talk and speech and just kind of railing against everybody else, this person just needs to do this, and I have all the answers for this, and this person just needs to do this, and this person just needs to do this, and they're constantly looking at everybody around them and what they just need to do. Every conversation with us and SK was him talking about somebody and what they needed to do. Pastor Anthony's just this, having affairs. He's a horrible person, blah, 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 blah. Brad, just so you know, he talks horribly about you behind your back. You're just this. You're just this. He's angry at you. He's yelling at you. He's yelling about you.
But at the same time, then he would also praise them too, which
then
is
he
so
would
weird.
praise them. Yes.
Like they're the greatest. They're this, they're this, they're this, but then they're this, right?
But I'm better than them. They have to put them up on a pedestal in order to be good enough to be friends with.
Right. So somebody was asking, Katie was asking, who is SK? We're talking about Scott Kesterson of Bards FM. If you have not watched our series that we did earlier this year on that, I highly recommend it for anybody that even knows who he is. And even if you don't, it still gives you an eye-opening glimpse into how these people infiltrate
con artistry,
especially the mega movement too. There's a lot that have infiltrated the mega movement. Nick Fuentes is one. He's a complete psychopath. And how do these people, Andrew Tate. Now, sometimes you're able to spot them. Like you would think, see, here's the thing. We all think that we're going to be able to spot them like we can spot an Andrew Tate or we can spot a Nick Fuentes. And that's just not true. Like, it's absolutely not true at all.
I would say this, though. I feel that in the realm of life, depending on how big of a psychopath they are, somebody's going to pick up on it. Because like with Andrew Tate, not a lot of people are picking up on it, but more and more people are picking up on it. Like with Nick Fuentes, a handful of people are saying that he is crazy. This kid's weird.
Right.
Okay. He talks about like, being 30 and wanting a 14-year-old wife. Like he's sick in the head. He's violent. He's sick in the head. But Tucker Carlson just had him on his show.
Right. So
not being able to call somebody else as added a psychopath. Like there are people that I don't want to be around because I feel like they're dangerous. Other people just love them. Okay. I think Candace Owens is a little bit cuckoo. I'm not going to put her in either category, but like she will ruin you if you cross her.
Yeah.
There are different ways, like in social media, there are ways to kill people.
Right.
And I believe that social media drives psychopaths to the forefront. And when you see a pylon and a cancellation of somebody, I believe it is driven by a need to like murder a personality, something like that. Okay. So let's bring up the video. Not this one, the other one with this lady. This one.
All right. I think it's this one.
And see how fast we can get her because it's a long one.
And you don't even realise you're doing it. When someone's being gaslit by an expert manipulator, they don't know which way is up. They will love bomb you. They will have a strategic campaign to win your heart. They seek to utterly dominate. If you see it, run.
Oh my gosh, we're just getting started. You have no idea what's ahead. You definitely want to watch the rest of this episode, and you can do so over at resistancechicks.com. Thank you so much for tuning into Resistance Chicks right here on Faith and Freedom TV. We are running our Christmas sale at shop.resistancechicks.com. Please use promo code Christmas2025 to save 10% and be checking out our weekly sales that we're going to have now through Christmas. We love you. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a...
The markets are in turmoil. Global trade disputes, government debt, and economic shifts are creating unprecedented uncertainty. Yet, gold and silver remain the ultimate safe haven assets, thriving when chaos reigns. Kirk Elliott Precious Metals empowers you to safeguard your future. Call 720-605-3900 or visit kepm.com/B2T to discover how to reposition your portfolio into low-cost, fully liquid gold and silver bullion. Unlike firms pushing overpriced rare coins, KEPM educates you, avoids high commissions, and charges nothing when you liquidate. With governments and banks scrambling, now is your chance to invest in assets that have stood the test of time. Join thousands who trust KEPM to protect their retirement with integrity. Call 720-605-3900 or go to kepm.com/B2T today to seize this historic bull market opportunity.
I'm Jordan, and this is my brother. And I'm Nace, and we're the Grid Down Chowdown. And this is Larry, who is a local rancher that we've partnered with. Now, Larry, you've been ranching for over 4 generations, is that correct?
That's correct. I'm 3rd generation, my son's 4th generation, and I've got some grandkids that are 5th generation.
Man, that's awesome.
We've been here for quite a while, yeah.
All right, now, Larry, your cattle is grass-fed, grass-finished, and pasture-raised, just like God intended them to be.
Yes, because I want to know what's in that animal.
Right.
What it's been fed. And so the only way to do that is for us to keep it all natural, just like God has done it for years and years and years, thousands of years.
How has partnering up with us helped you in your ranch?
Well, it's allowed us to develop a market that we didn't have before, one that can get directly to the consumer, and that's great.
And just remember, more importantly, with every package that you buy, we put a salvation track in there. So from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for allowing us to do what we believe that God has us here to do. And just remember, God loves you. He really does.
Transform your health with the power of light. Introducing the future of natural healing. Are you seeking a natural, effective way to enhance your well-being, reduce pain, and accelerate healing? If you're looking for quick fixes or ignoring the importance of natural health solutions, this might not be for you. Backed by years of research and testimonials from health professionals, our quantum energy infrared light harnesses the scientifically proven benefits of red and infrared light therapy. Designed for those who value holistic health practices, our device offers a non-invasive, drug-free method to support your body's natural healing processes. Visit QEstrong.com now to discover how quantum energy can revolutionize your health routine. Experience deeper sleep, enhanced muscle recovery, reduced inflammation, and improved skin health, all with just a few minutes of use each day. Don't miss out on the healing power of quantum energy. Visit QEstrong.com and learn more to take the first step towards a healthier you. Join the thousands who have already discovered the life-changing benefits of quantum energy. It's time to prioritize your health and well-being. Unlock the healing power of light.